Well, hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are having a super duper fantastic day out there today. Hey, I'm live at 5. 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 Come on inside of the StreamYard room. Let's go ahead and have this conversation while I want you to wrap your loving arms around it. And if anybody know anything about me or be around me for any long period of time, eventually this saying is going to come out of my mouth like, wrap your loving arms around it. Why? Because I'm telling you the truth. So, look, my name is Deneen Merriweather. I am the CEO and founder of Queenpreneurs Jumpstart Program. It is the number one training environment for women in the world looking to leverage their knowledge, ignite their passion, and build a highly profitable business. And how do you do this? By building your courage, confidence, and competence so you can accept, believe, and commit to what it is that God has called you to do. So, look, let's get into this conversation. Wrap your loving arms around it. Put it in the chat, put it in the chat, put it in the chat. So let me tell you why I felt like this was a great conversation for Wednesday, because we know what happens on a Wednesday. Is that I had a couple of discovery calls this week, and I was in conversation with a couple of people who are discovering and actually being able to say with their mouth what it is that God wants them to do, right? I don't believe that we're confused. Hey, sissy, I don't believe that we don't have clarity. I believe that we have these things, and we tend to be uncomfortable with the call that God is calling us to, and He's telling us to do, right? We feel like it doesn't make sense. And listen to this too. It doesn't necessarily mean whatever it is that He calls you to do that is meant to be a business. It could just be a service. It could be the way that you serve other people, right? But if it's something that you would love to do as a vocation or a profession, then go for it. Then do it and build it and do the things that you need to do to build it into a business, right? So sometimes people have a hard time of even learning how to monetize or finding ways to monetize certain things that they want to turn into a business, because sometimes it's just meant to be service, something that you actually do for people. But I don't mean that I want you to give your gifts away. I don't want you to give your gifts away. I don't want you to give your talent away. I don't want you to do that. There's things that you can do and able to do that you've built skill in, that you've been to school for, and you deserve to get paid for it. So this conversation is not about giving away nothing for free, but sometimes we try to turn some things into businesses that's not meant to be. But here's the conversation that I was having, and I want you to get this. So for those of us who have been called to take on a new vocation, to do something that God is calling us to do, we have difficulty starting over, right? I know when I was called into speaking, teaching, and coaching, this was my third reboot, right? The third career start over revamp that I had in my adult career, right? The first one was my first job out of radio. It took me a minute to land something that I liked, right? And then while I was there, I decided that I wanted to become a meeting planner. So I left and started from the bottom, went back down, took a $20,000 pay cut. And then when God was telling me to go become a coach and a speaker, right, I played around with it because I knew what it felt like to take the $20,000 pay cut, to start from the bottom, to go through the financial struggles and all the things, right? So I totally was like not trying to leave without having a list of clients or some clients before I left. But you know what? I didn't have time to get that all together. I started and I was playing around and kind of doing it and kind of not doing it. For those of you that I'm on your street right now, you kind of building the business and you kind of not building the business. Just in your spirit, just say, okay, she's talking to me, because it's a Wednesday, so you already knew this was coming. And then I was let go, and when I was let go, it was like, okay, now I can do this for real. Now I can really give this my time and my attention that it needs to build the thing, right? So I was having this conversation with a potential client on yesterday, and I was having the conversation about how I know it's hard to start over and how I know that she may be afraid. But there's three things that I want you to wrap your loving arms around. And I think if you can get these three things, you'll stop waiting. You'll stop playing games. You'll stop not starting now. Like, you'll stop the foolishness, because you already know what to expect. And we're gonna go ahead and just get this out my spirit right now while it's coming up. You already know it's gonna take effort and it's gonna take time. Put it in the chat. That's not the number one, but that's good for the getting. So the number one thing that I want you to wrap your loving arms around is that whenever you're starting something new, you building a skill, can you get that it's a process? Put it in the chat. It's a process, right? There's certain things and processes that you're going to have to go through in order to be prepared for what it is that you're praying for, asking for, building, you want, whatever, right? It's a process. A process of what? Figuring stuff out, asking questions, researching, interviewing people, right? It's a process. Put it in the chat. It's a process. And sometimes when we don't get real with it, right? Just think back for your first career, the first thing that you started. It was a process in order for you to get into it. For some of us, we went to school and we got a degree. For some of us, we started sending out resumes and having interviews and made connections and did networking events and all this stuff, right? It's a process. It's a process. Like, there's no waking up one day, right? You thought about it last night and you wake up today and it's here and it's in your hand. No, it's a process. And the more we get clear and wrap our loving arms around it, it's a process. We'll stop being so surprised that it takes time. We'll stop being so surprised and beating upon ourselves that, yeah, it might be something that we have to go back and start and be at the beginning, but you're not even starting to be in at the beginning. So here's how I heard Bishop Jakes talk about this. See, some of y'all believe if you hear from Bishop Jakes it's true and you hear from Janine it's not true, but I'm going to tell you that Bishop Jakes told this to me, so I'm going to tell this to you. For every level that you're elevating yourself, right, there is a beginning and an end, right? A start when you're a novice and then a mastery, right? Put it in the chat. I want to be a master. Put it in the chat. I want to be a master. Now, this is just me speaking into your life. You want to be a master. Whatever it is that you put in your hands to, you want to be a master in it, right? So every level that you go up, so let's say you master the first level. Well, then the next level, where you think you're going? You think you're going straight to mastery, or you going back to the novice, the beginning stage? You're going to the beginning. So every level that you elevate yourself is the beginning. It's not actually taking you back where you came from. It's just the beginning of the new level. Put it in the chat. I'm at the beginning of the new level. If you are elevating, right? I'm at the beginning of the new level. Because sometimes we don't want to wrap our arms around that this is a process and it takes time. It's like, I want to be a master. Thank you, LaShawn. Okay, you in the game. You doing this, okay? Yeah, I want to be a master. I want to be a master. And when you get to that next level, it's just the beginning of the next level, but you're higher than you were before. You're not starting over at the beginning. You're playing a new game at a higher level, and it requires a different level of skills. It's a process. Number two, you know what I found out in prayer and when I start to tackle on new things that I want to achieve and accomplish in my life, that it takes some preparation. Put it in the chat. Preparation. Right? It's just like you having a speaking engagement, right? You can't just walk on the stage and start just talking out your mouth. No, you got to ask them, okay, so what's the theme? Do you have any scriptures or topics that you'd like me to talk about? What would you like your people in the audience to walk away with? Is it okay for me to sell something, to give them something, to collect email addresses, to have offline conversations? Hey, whoever that is in the Facebook group that is saying Facebook user, or you just haven't given StreamYard permission to see your name. So I don't know who it is, but let me know who it is. But you prepare yourself before you get on the big stage, right? I remember Pastor O said this a couple of weeks ago, like sometimes you're backstage preparing, before God puts you in the front stage. So don't be down when you're in the dark or you're in that preparation phase. It doesn't mean that what he told you is not going to happen. It doesn't mean that you misunderstood. It doesn't mean that you're wasting your time. You just need to keep going. Put it in the chat. Keep going. Put it in the chat. Keep going, right? Because you're in the process and you're in preparation. So those big goals, those big dreams, you're going to have to go through the process and you're going to have to prepare for what it is that you're asking for. And then number three, here's the part that really knocks us out sometimes, like that really takes us down. So let's just say you do something for the first time, maybe even the second time, you had a good turnout, or maybe you met some of the metrics that you had for yourself, but you didn't meet all of them. That takes us out sometimes. Like, oh my God, I never want to do this again. This is so disappointing. Only 2 people showed up. Only 10 people showed up. Just say, oh, that's me if I'm on your street, right? That it could just take you out because you're not seeing the activity or the results that you want right now. But here's what you got to get. And this is number 3. It's going to take perfecting. Put it in the chat. It's going to take perfecting. Now, I didn't say you're going to be perfect. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. But it's going to take perfecting, meaning you're going to have to keep doing it, right? It's just like this current position that you're in. It took a minute for me to master planning events or being an event planner, right? I do feel like I'm at the mastery level, but I can get better. Like there's still room to grow. There's still people that's doing it at a higher level than me with more days and more features and moving parts and all that stuff and manage larger teams than I have, right? But I know that I'm at a high level of planning events, right? But I didn't start at the high level. Do you get that? I started at the beginning, and then I had to figure out like what the process was. How do I prepare for these things? I always tend to point back to a lady who helped me so much. She's my sister in Christ. Her name is Maria Ewing. Every year of planning women's empowerment, she would just give me more responsibilities. And I asked her like years ago, like, how did you know? How did you know that I was able to do this? She was like, oh, because you wasn't messing up, that you were able to carry it through. And I had given it to other people and they were dropping the balls and fumbling. So I was just like, you know what? Let me see if Janine can handle this right here. Boom. I'm going to give her something else. You know what? Let me see if Janine can handle something else. Right. And before you knew it, I had a lot of pieces under my belt to be able to run that event successfully. And hopefully the same thing in your field, whatever it is that you're starting, whatever it is that you're perfecting, whatever it is you're in the process of whatever it is that you're in preparation of, do you get that it's going to take you some time to get to the mastery level? So it's not that you're starting over at the beginning, because see, when you start feeling like you're going backwards, it makes you not move forward. It make you not do what God is calling you to do. It make you say, no, I don't want to do that because I ain't trying to lose all this money I'm making. I'm telling you, y'all, I've been there. I understand. And I'll be more than happy to share more with you, right? I can tell you my story, but what I'm telling you is don't keep waiting to start, because you still have to go through the process. And the longer that you wait, don't change the process you got to go through. It's just taking you longer to get to the goal and to get to where God is calling you to be. So look, wrap your loving arms around it. Put it in the chat. Wrap your loving arms around it. I'm telling you the truth, y'all. It is a process. Number one, it takes preparation. Number two, and it's going to take some perfecting. Number three, it's all right that you got to do it a couple of times before you hit all your metrics and your numbers. Just know that perfecting is what's going to get you to the mastery. And you got to keep doing it over and over and over again, tweaking over and over and over again. Just keep doing it. Don't lose that encouragement. Don't lose the faith. Don't lose that this is something that he's called you to do. Just know that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing with the right people, okay? Because everything that's happening is happening for you. Always looking forward to serving you. I'll see you guys on Friday. It's going to be my last live before vacay, right? I'm off the month of July, but you guys will definitely still have content. It'll be Christmas in July. We'll replay all the wonderful things we talked about during the 12 days of Christmas. Of course, you know the giveaways won't be real. Also, I'm headed to North Carolina on tomorrow. So if you want to hook up with me, slide in my DM, find out where I am. I'll be there from Thursday until Monday. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you soon. I'll see you on Friday. I'm live at 5. Hey, I'm live.